All right, so we got to do a reaction video. I'm from Norway. Spring has come, whatever. This is me reacting to an American girl, the woman called Meg. And she's lived in Norway for 5 years. I've reacted to some of her videos before. This is how I do it because I'm fucking dumb when it comes to using a computer. So I'm just using my phone. And I haven't seen this. So let's see, all right.
The fact that everyone looked like they were carved from the fjord's rocks themselves. But after a while, these big dramatic differences start to fade into the background, and what starts to stand out are the more domestic ones. And I swear, if you want to understand a country, do not look at its tourist attractions, look at its entryways, and look in the kitchen drawers. Because Norwegian households are built on a completely different set of assumptions than American ones. So today we're talking about the 5 things that you would find in every Norwegian household that an American simply would not understand. And more importantly, what I think those things reveal about Norwegian culture. Let's start at the door. And I'm not talking about the
they take their shoes off before they come in the house.
Because yes, they do, but that's not the interesting part. The interesting part is that I think the entire house is basically designed around that one fact alone. Depending on who you are.
You said that fact in a weird voice.
Entryways are often very decorative. A cute console table.
So what she said in a weird voice, and I made a video about that myself. And that's that we in Norway, we take our shoes off before we get inside. And I learned about this late in life. Like, really? Is that just a Norwegian thing? Even Sweden doesn't do that. And we are like neighbors. You know, Sweden is like the sucky version of Norway. So, but she said that because she said that in a demonic, weird voice. So we didn't hear it that well. But let's see what she has to say now.
Maybe a mirror. In Norway, the average Norwegian household's entryway is a functional transition chamber.
I showed you.
It's built for survival. There are hooks everywhere, reflective vests for kids, wool layers, rain boots.
This is so fucking interesting for me. This is fun because I just take that for granted, you know. As I said, I learned that late in life, and we have that too. You know, this is my father's house, and I live upstairs. And he's gone now, so that's why I'm fucking around like I am. But yeah, you can wait. Yeah. So these are the shoes. Shoes. You see that? That's what she's talking about. Bitches. All right. I'm doing this sunglasses thing because it's douchey. All right. It gives me a sort of a image, if you will. YouTube is shallow, so why not be shallow, you know?
Boots for snow, boots for mud, boots for hiking, boots for, these are cute, but they're actually waterproof. The floor is usually tile, and it can handle chaos because it expects chaos. And almost always, there's this little detail that most Americans miss out on, the shoe horn. Not one of those tiny plastic ones you get for free at the state fair sometimes. A long, often metal or wooden shoe horn, sometimes nearly 2 feet long and hanging by the door like it's the most important tool in the household because honestly,
this is true.
It is. In the US, shoe horns feel
metal.
Antique, something your grandfather might own, right?
In
Norway, they're standard equipment. And I think why is because Norwegians wear very structured footwear. And not only very structured, but very practical. Practical shoes that are built to last.
I just gotta say,
and
all
the
right?
point of the shoe.
This is interesting to respond to because I don't give a shit about Norwegian winter. It's not Norwegian nature. It's like people who lives in Londonians. How many times have they seen Big Ben? That fucking thing, right? It's like the tourist attractions aren't like, you know, that's not the most interesting thing about traveling in Mexico. When I was in Mexico, the tourist things were the most boring shit. The coolest things were like having a spiritual birth thing in a tent. That was awful, by the way. I hated it, so I went outside and I grabbed a smoke. And they got angry at me because it was a spiritual thing. Anyway, so
Horn is
But
to
I just
preserve
want to tell you that story, just quick. Because we were in Mexico, there was this class I was with just girls. I was the only guy. And we were with this family that takes in people. And they teach about Mexico and whatever. So we were going to have this, it's not, bastio, a sauna. Worked like a sauna. So it was a tent. And there was like in the middle of this sauna. And we were supposed to sit there and experience being born, reborn or born or whatever. But for me, it got so intense. And also, I drank all the time, so I was constantly hungover. And I was pretty sure I'd shit my pants the other day and couldn't do anything about it. And I sat there, and there were like these people that hosted this. They said, okay, so this is a spiritual thing. If you have to leave, then leave, but please don't. They said something like that. Like, they gave us some sort of pressure, It was like, you can leave. We have to say that you can leave, but please don't do that. And I just sat there and I felt like it was so awful. I felt I couldn't breathe and everything. And I thought, like, none of these people that's in my class are going to be the first one to say it. But I know that I won't be the only one if I walk out right now. So I said, I'm going. I can't do this. And I got this chick with me. And we get both to grab the smoke outside. So I got only one with me. But hey, she said she wouldn't have left if I didn't leave. So that's a fucking lesson for you. You gotta be the first. Sometimes you just gotta be the first. And sometimes the spiritual shit is just shit anyway. I didn't feel like I was born again. I felt like I, was gonna die.
Heel of the shoe, therefore extending the life of the shoe. And for people who invest heavily in proper footwear, they care about that longevity. And back to the shoe rule itself, it isn't just about cleanliness here. I think it also has to do with boundaries. I think you can almost relate it back to Norway's strong distinction between public and private life. And taking off your shoes when you enter the home is sort of symbolic of that. You leave the outside world at the door, literally and physically. In America, I think the boundary between public and private life is blurrier. The big idea is that we host, we entertain, and our homes become a sort of extension of our social lives. And that's a difference that shows up immediately at the shoehorn. Now on to number 2, the drying rack. Americans love their drying machines. We throw everything in. Towels, sometimes jeans.
Oh, is that an original
baggage.
thing?
Go ahead and throw that
that's
in there
interesting.
too. But in Norway, almost every household has a foldable drying rack.
Yep, we have it too. Yep,
and it's
just
usually
like that.
in the living room, and it's usually
I can show you,
permanently
but it's not
stationed
that
like a piece of
exciting.
furniture
It's
that everyone
like
has
the
sort of
picture.
collectively agreed to ignore. And here's the thing: Norway absolutely has dryers. We have one ourselves.
My mother
so it's
has.
not because the technology has not arrived.
I don't.
I think it's because of one reason specifically: wool. Norwegians own a lot of wool. Wool socks,
I don't.
wool underwear, wool sweaters, and wool cannot be aggressively
Look like
tumble
this,
dried.
so.
So because of this, it's almost like a habit to just hang everything else up also. And you can eat.
I just gotta say that in Norway now, so 1st of March is spring in Norway. That's spring. But March is very 50-50. I remember there was a March a couple of years ago. Was just like January. It was cold as fuck. And I remembered April 1st, it was warm. So March 31st, it was cold as fuck. And I also remember, almost 10 years ago now, March had a fucking snowstorm. Like, there was snow everywhere. Everyone was shoveling snow. You couldn't drive. You couldn't take the bus. You couldn't do anything. So March can be wintry, very wintry. But sometimes March just, like now, knock on wood, decides to be like, oh, well, fuck it. 1st of March, it's spring. So I'm sitting here, I just took a shower, and I'm sitting here, I'm warm as fuck, It's springtime, bitches. It's springtime. And Yeah, just want to say that. In Norway now, east in Norway, Östlandet, it's warm. Pretty fucking
Make
warm.
it come back to that Norwegians will buy something of quality and they don't want it to be ruined. They preserve the longevity of their items. Or I even thought about the sustainability aspect of it. Norwegians love their sustainability and being sustainable. So if anything can use less water, I think a good chunk of Norwegians would jump on that opportunity. There's also something very honest about it. You go to someone's house and yes, there might be socks hanging up in the corner, but that's because life is happening. It's not hidden away in a laundry room the size of a...
And she's saying something, a word there. She said a word that I absolutely would use to describe Norwegians. Honest. We are an honest bunch of people, you know? We're a very, I don't know if you call it transparent because we do value our privacy, but, you know, having privacy is different. But honesty, I bet you if you ask Norwegians, they're gonna say what they think. Some of them might you know, do it in the most polite way possible, but it's gotta be honest. And like she said with the rags, yeah, absolutely, that's a thing. This is an interesting video, and she's thought about this. Good thoughts. Thank you for having good thoughts.
Small apartment. However, I do miss being able to wash and dry my clothes in under an hour.
Yeah, but you can't do that though.
That I took for granted. Number 3.
Go to my mother's house. Oh, commercial. Oh, okay. Fuck it. You want to watch Norwegian commercials? Let's do it. It's about Red Bull. When you see women like that in commercials like that, you feel like trash, you know? Look. But I am trash though. I am.
Kan hindre deg i å gjøre det du elsker.
Elsker means love.
Axial Triple Action kan hjelpe deg å leve uten begrensninger. Hver dråpe er utformet med 4 effektive bestanddeler, som gir deg umiddelbar...
It's about a glue that you put inside your eye.
Axial Triple Action.
It's a sort of a glue, so it closes your eyes.
Just a word of warning. This lunch buy, not exactly family friendly. I kinda like it.
That's Edvard Munch Museum.
300,000 amerikanere hvert år. Opplev Norge, du også.
300,000 Americans every year experience Norway. That was a commercial for you guys. Fuck, I didn't skip it in time. Oh, okay, I did. Now, back to this.
In America, 1 bed, 1 blanket. Perhaps you fight over it during the night. Maybe someone steals it every night.
This is
However, in
interesting.
Norway, 1 bed, yes, but 2 blankets. We do not share duvets here, so you quite literally cannot steal it.
And I feel like Norway is also very much
when I
like...
first saw this, I did actually kind of think...
That's kind of the honesty part, I think. It's like, this is mine, and that's yours. We're not like, you don't take my thing, and I don't take your thing. It's not like being an asshole or anything. It's like just, we are aware. That's your thing, and I'm gonna take your thing. That's your thing. You know, when we go to have parties and whatever, and we don't. Well, maybe some grown-ups or some 1%ers do, like they host and therefore they host money, open bars and everything. But when you go down to us regular people, it's like when you go to a party or a before party or an after party, you bring your own alcohol. You buy your own alcohol and you take it with you and you cram it into the fridge, and everybody crams their alcohol into the fridge that the host has, and you don't drink other people's alcohol. You just don't do that, and other people don't drink yours. It's yours, and then there's theirs. So if you do that, if you take somebody's alcohol, if you take somebody's alcohol, you're a thief. It's not being an asshole or an ego or, being cheap or anything. It's just, you ask, And it's just like Norwegians would never take from you. Of course, there are people everywhere who does that, but you know what I mean. It's an unwritten rule, okay? Fuck! I just took a shower, but I still. It's fine. Actually, it's fine. I should. Whatever, doesn't matter.
Mildly alarming, I guess. Like, are we okay? Is this a cultural indication of something here? But it turns out it's practical. It prevents arguments. It helps with sleep. And it allows temperature control. My favorite part about it. One person can have a thick winter duvet. The other can choose a lighter duvet. And there's actually research supporting the idea that separate duvets reduce nighttime
That
disturbances
is something
between
I
partners.
never thought
And
about before.
it
She
works.
talked about it.
I no longer wake up sweating in a tug of war competition with my husband at 3 a.m. I sort of relate this back to, I don't know, maybe Norwegians care about sleep more than like an aesthetically pretty looking bed. Or I don't know. You tell me in the comments.
I think it's the that's yours, that's my thing. We Norwegians have. It's like she talked about with the privacy of your home, right? You leave your outside life out there, and this is your home. So this is my home. Don't you dare come unenunciated. Don't you dare stand there at the door and say, "Hey, you wanna?" Don't you dare. You gotta say in advance before you just show up, you know? You're stealing my time. You're stealing my private time, my alone time. We're sort of like that, you know? And I think there's an honesty in that. And that's what I love.
A little bit more about food and utensils. And I'm going deeper than
Brown cheese.
yes, brown cheese exists, and yes, Americans are confused by it, but what's more interesting is the bread culture surrounding it. Most Norwegian kitchens will have very dedicated bread spaces. A bread drawer, a bread box, a bread basket.
I'll show you. I'll show you our bread basket. My father stole, which I'm stealing his. Anyway, that's the bread basket. The bread. That's coffee. Interesting, right? It's fantastic. That's fucking cool. That's the area where, you know, you have your things, shoes and everything. So back to it, I guess. Back to it. All right.
Bread is not an afterthought here. It's central to the Norwegian
Yeah, and
food
that's,
experience.
I've got to say,
Open-faced
that's, okay, I may go on the rant right now, but that's a Norwegian thing I don't like. We have this thing where we, for the longest time, I don't know if I like serving kids food at the school. We have something called matpakke, and that's matpakke. You take bread with cheese or whatever kind of things on it, and you do it, and you take it with your kid. Take it with them on school. So school doesn't serve, or maybe it does now. But when I was a kid, school didn't serve food, and I lived with my father because I couldn't live with my mom and whatever. Whatever, doesn't matter. Fuck Thailand. Anyway, so he is a great father in many ways, and an interesting person. I can live here with upstairs, and we sort of make it okay. I'm looking for apartments, but anyway. But he was so shitty at making me like lunch for school when I was a kid. So shitty. It always looked like sweaty, and the cheese was just off. He bought the cheapest things, and everybody made fun of me because my matpakke looked like shit and tasted like shit. And this guy Peter in my class, he was a lonely child, and he got whatever the fuck he wanted. And I had like 30 brothers and sisters, and we lived in a small apartment, and and we didn't have that much money. So anyway, the fact that we have, if there is if they're serving food now at schools, that's great. If they're not, that tradition sucks. Bread, the whole bread thing, the Norwegian fucking, we're so fucking horny with the bread. It's like, oh, give me bread, give me bread. I just need bread so I can have fucking cheese on them or whatever, you know? There's many other things than cheese, but I can't, I'm still, fuck. Anyway, so that's just fucking stupid. I hate, and then also food culture in Norway in general. Before we found oil, we were basically a U country. We were poor. So we were farmers. So the food we made was based on not having much, but having potatoes and having this. Smoked salmon is because we had to, so we had something to eat over the winter. So we smoked them, so we had something to eat later, right? Smoked salmon. I hate fish. I don't eat fish. I fucking hate fish. Yeah, I wish I did. I wish I liked fish, but I don't.
Sandwiches are the national breakfast time and lunchtime food in the Scandinavian countries. And the cheese slicer, invented in Norway, by the way.
Ostehøvel. This is a ostehøvel, cheesehøvel, ostehøvel. You do this on the fucking cheese, and you get it. And we don't have brown cheese, but here's the thing about brown cheese. She is ignoring brown cheese, but I'll talk about brown cheese. Brown cheese is a cheese that's brown. And it doesn't taste like cheese at all. And no, you can't melt it. You can't have it on pizza. That would taste like shit. It's not that kind of cheese. And it's sort of sweet and it melts on your tongue. I love it. It's like, if I haven't eaten it in a year or two, and I eat it for the first time in that long, I would just love it. Oh, and I eat brown cheese all the fucking time in 3 months or so, and then I'm done. I can't eat it anymore. I've eaten too much. I'm done. Then I wait a year or two to the next 3 months of brown cheese eating.
In 1952 by Tor Bjørklund.
Tor Bjørklund.
It's also everywhere. It's
Bjørklund, for
It's
faen.
a Norwegian kitchen.
Bjørklund.
The slicer itself, I think, is revealing of Norwegian and Scandinavian culture. It creates thin, even slices, no excess. Because Norwegian food culture historically developed around scarcity. One, Norway wasn't always a rich country. They were very poor. And long winters required foods that lasted. Cured meats, cheeses, dense breads. Even today, the national dietary guidelines emphasize whole grains, fish, dairy, and moderation. And Norway has also implemented policies like the sugar tax. And you compare that to the American food abundance culture, where you have oversized portions, hidden ingredients, and hyper.
Are there fat people in America?
The entire Norwegian
What?
food system is relatively transparent, even down to the brødskive. You see the bread,
Brødskive, for
you
fuck's
see the
sake. I'm
toppings,
just kidding.
nothing's buried. And last but not least, number 5, sheepskin. There is a moment when you've lived in Norway long enough that you stop.
I'm not like. It feels like especially for English-speaking people, Norwegian is difficult. We have a, o at the end of our alphabet. We have the same letters as you do, but we also have a, o. And those are our letters you just, as an English talking person, American or British or whatever, you can't say them, apparently. And that's fine, of course, that's fine. That's just how it is. But she said brødskive, brødskive. But, just interesting. It's just, it seems like for English language people that Norwegian is not necessarily difficult to speak, but pronounce most words. They sound very much like an English person speaking Norwegian.
Noticing the sheepskin.
Which is fine.
They're on dining chairs, they're on benches, they're draped over sleds, they're on the floor at the cabin.
If you're a
and
woman,
sometimes
yeah.
they're just casually thrown over what appears to be a completely normal.
So women, you know, like, you know, my mother has a lot of sheep things and has candle lights everywhere and takes care of things. It looks really nice at my mother's house. Not here, especially not where I live upstairs. This living room is my father's, and you can see there's not much sheepskin or anything. But women are so much better at like having a cozy time, you know, taking care of things. And also when they make brödskiva, they don't just have a brödskiva and bread, you know, and just cheese on it and just like we men do. They put some fucking vegetables on it and some other things and eggs and whatever and makes it all beautiful and nice. So I guess that's a woman thing. I don't know. Maybe it's not. I don't know.
Modern IKEA chair. If you walk into a Norwegian home and there isn't at least one sheepskin pelt somewhere, I would be shocked. To an American, I think a sheepskin could feel decorative. It's rustic.
Well, fuck.
Right?
I have.
It's Pinterest
Upstairs,
pattern
I have
for it.
in my
But in
place.
Norway,
I have, but it's not real sheep.
and it's
but
historical.
I
Real
do have it.
sheepskin is
Fuck,
incredibly
that-
insulating. It traps heat while remaining breathable. And when you live in a country where large parts of the year are cold, soft insulation layers matter everywhere. Not only do Norwegians use sheepskin inside, they use sheepskin outside. You'll go to a cafe
I wonder where in
October
Norway
and
she
it's
lives.
7 degrees outside,
There's-
and on every chair,
Where?
under every person, a sheepskin. And there's also that
Because it
historical
really
context.
depends, you know, south, real south, in Kristiansand or fucking, where is it? Yeah, Kristiansand, I think. It's not, whatever. Or real north, like up north. I live south, but not 90% south. Doesn't make sense. I don't know. I'm terrible at numbers. But it's like, you know, fuck it. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Text that I mentioned earlier. Norway's rural and coastal communities relied heavily on sheep farming for centuries. Wool and hides were, of course, survival materials. And modern Norway is wealthy. It's urban, it's design forward, Scandi style, am I right? But these sheepskins remain embedded in domestic life.
Minimalistic
And they're
style.
because they're so normal. Because of course you would have a sheepskin. And there's also kind of a deeper layer.
God damn it.
Norwegians generally have a different relationship with animal products than many Americans might assume. Hunting is common, rural traditions are respected. If an animal is raised or hunted, as much of it as possible should be used. It reflects a historical relationship with land and livestock. And once you sit on a wooden chair with a real sheepskin in winter, you'll understand immediately why it's still so widely used today. So, when you look at these things individually, they don't seem like much. None of them are revolutionary per se. But I love making these videos because together they tell you something about how a country
This is
thinks.
one of our best
And I
videos.
love analyzing those things. And what's interesting
This is one of her best videos because she's talking about actually like day-to-day life in Norway, like actual interesting things. Like, oh, the fjords are so... I'm not criticizing her. I'm not. But it's so easy for tourists to come here, and I see those videos. And it's like, oh, it's so the opera house in Oslo, or the fjords in whatever and never, and nature, blah 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 blah. But talk about the Norwegian soul, the Norwegian people, you know, the honesty from whatever.
to me isn't that these things are different from America. It's that they help reveal what a culture prioritizes without ever saying it out loud. I think that surprised me. When I started looking into Norwegian culture, I didn't expect to learn so much from a hallway alone. But of course, that's where actual culture lives. In the ordinary
Yes,
spaces,
it does.
the spaces that are used every single day. And once you start paying attention to that, you realize you can understand a place not just by what
Okay.
it celebrates.
Okay, I'm 99% sure this isn't the case. All right, 99.9% sure this isn't the case. But sometimes is like, has she seen one of my videos reacting to her? Because I kind of said the exact same thing that she said now. You know, I know it's probably not true. You know, like, is she the one person? No. But it's like, how many videos has she made, and this, like, and she's making this now? Anyway.
Rates publicly, but
Not
no one sets up
criticizing her.
I hope you enjoyed this
She's
video. Let
great.
me know
She's
down
great.
below if there's anything that I missed.
Okay, fuck it. Bye!